Welcome to the Outlier Mindset Podcast, your guide for living a life by design. Here, we explore the journey of becoming an outlier, finding your purpose, mastering your mindset, optimizing your health, achieving financial freedom, and building a life centered around your passions. So tune in, transform, and thrive. Welcome to the Outlier Mindset. Let the journey begin. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Outlier Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Rodman Schley, and today we welcome a true luminary in the global business and mindset arena, Candice Bar. Candice is a renowned media mogul, entrepreneur, author, and philanthropist with groundbreaking ventures like opening the first media studio on Rodeo Drive and founding Lux Enterprise. She's driven by a passion for entrepreneurship, women's advocacy, and health and wellness while making meaningful connections. Candice, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited. You know, we've got a lot of people that are going to be very, very interested in what you have to say today. We've got a lot of entrepreneurs out there. We've got a lot of business owners. We got a lot of people who are trying to build their life by their design around their superpowers. And I think you're going to have some really good information to provide our listeners.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So tell me a little bit about your book that you've got out right now.
Yeah, so I think in November it came out. It's Believing Before Seeing, Believing to Existence. And I decided to write the book because I've been an entrepreneur for 21 years. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs are nothing if not big believers, if in nothing else but themselves, that's for sure. And it's believing in the unknown, just creating different things, creating different companies, creating different ideas, putting one foot in front of the other and seeing how it's going to shake out and making it work.
But it's never easy. We know this. We're entrepreneurs. You know, we've spent a lot of time building businesses, and people think they can just throw a shingle up on the wall and all of a sudden have all this cash coming in. And it just doesn't quite work that way. It's a lot more to it. Tell me a little bit about your story, because I know that you've got a very interesting story on how you found entrepreneurship and how you found yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So I created Lux PR. Lux PR I've been doing for 21 years. I've been doing that the longest. So we do very high net worth connections, getting people on the big magazine covers, getting them on the big stages, it's really big PR connection work. And that's what we've been doing the longest. And then the other side of the company is Lux Media. So we do professional vodcasts and podcasts primarily for entrepreneurs. We make them look good. We make them sound good. We get them out to the masses with big numbers. We have a magazine for female entrepreneurs for both online and print. And then once a year, we have an event for female entrepreneurs called Women of Achievement, and we honor female entrepreneurship. So we do a lot. And it all came from a need that I saw. So basically, it all started from me going to a networking event in Los Angeles at, I think 19 or 20, and never being at a networking event before and just thinking it was awful and terrible. And I had a list of things that could be changed, and I created networking groups from what I saw definitely needed to change. And we had a bunch of networking groups for a long time. And then networking groups went to one-on-one connections, and then one-on-one connections went nationwide, then that went international. It kind of all fed out of a need, the short answer, and kind of created itself in a way. But as you were saying, it is not easy, and it is not for everyone.
No, and you were doing it for you've been doing it for 20 years, right? And so a lot of people, I think, look at successful people and think, well, I can do that, or I can get that. It won't take long to get to where they're at. But they don't understand all the failures that had to come before you get to where you're at today. The evolution, if you will. You know, really sitting in a room, sounds like you sat there and you identified a problem. You said, they're not doing this right. I can do this better. And then you worked off of that problem to start serving.
Yeah. And as you were saying, you know, it doesn't matter how far you go and how long you've been in business and how far you grow. And how big the company grows, you're always going to have issues and problems. I don't care who you are. The issues get bigger, the bigger you go. You just get better at handling things, hopefully. And big issues, the faster you can get over things and get to the solution, the faster you can kind of get over things. But it's constantly growing. It's constantly figuring it out. And yeah, it's not all terrible and terrifying. But again, entrepreneurship is, I have always said this, it is not for the faint of heart. If you want consistency in your life and if you want to feel warm and fuzzy, entrepreneurship is not for you.
Well, and that's why I always tell people you better make sure that you're aligning it with something that you love doing every day. Because if you're not aligned with your superpowers, if you're not aligned with your purpose, and then you're miserable, it's going to be a miserable journey, right? But we do what we do because we love what we do. And we love the people that we serve and that we work with. Otherwise, why would anybody do this?
Yes. You know, I think people look at, the word entrepreneur and they think it's such a sexy word. My friend came up with the best definition I've ever heard in my life, and I'm going to share it with you. It is the true definition of entrepreneurship, and it is the bearer of risk. So that is what entrepreneurship is. You're kind of, especially in the beginning, you're kind of just white knuckling it. But if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, it's going to shake out. You can't stop. When you stop, you quit, then you lose. You just can't stop. You got to keep pushing forward.
So you get into LA, you're 19, 20 years old. I mean, when I was 19, 20, I had no idea who I was. I had zero idea of what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, what was important to me. How did you grasp on so quickly to knowing what you wanted to do and knowing about your path? Or has it just been simply an evolution?
It's been an evolution, but I definitely would take off the word simply. It has not been simple or easy. So I reiterate that enough in this interview. But, I came from New Hampshire. So going from New Hampshire to Los Angeles is quite the shift. And I went alone, and I did not come from wealth. So there was no calling back home, for help. Like that wasn't available, and that wasn't a thing. So you just figure it out. And I went from New Hampshire to LA because I wanted the challenge. I'm like, you know what? If we're going to do this, let's make it as hard as possible. I heard LA was pretty rough. I heard LA was, hard to survive in. So let's do that. So I'm like, because if you can survive LA, I don't care about New York. New York is nothing to LA. If you can survive Los Angeles, you can survive anything. And the rule of thumb with LA is if you can survive 4 years and more, then you're going to be successful. And I saw so many people go to LA, you go to LA typically to be in the entertainment industry, not survive because they were a big fish in a small pond from where they were from. Then they came to LA. There's millions of people in Los Angeles alone. And they, got distracted because LA can be very distracting if you don't have a good head on your shoulders and are focused. They got discouraged and they went back home and they didn't fulfill their dream. So you have to, and LA is a hustle city. The second you land, you can feel the hustle. Like there's an energy in Los Angeles. So you just have to be able to adapt. That's an entrepreneur thing. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to survive, and you have to be able to figure it out.
You said something interesting to me because and this is something that I come from, kind of the same thing in that I didn't come from wealth. You said I did not come from wealth.
No.
I think some of the most successful entrepreneurs that I know don't come from wealth because we hustle, because we grind, because we work hard, because we weren't given anything, and because we really appreciate it when we do get something. There's this appreciation that you get that comes with it when you come from really not much.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your story? Is that how you feel about it? Or did you know that you were destined to be this and it just all worked out?
I definitely did not know I was destined to be this, but I do remember, now that I'm talking to you, this is jarring my memory. I do remember talking to an ex-boyfriend before I moved to LA, and he was a boyfriend at the time. And he said, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I just remember looking at him and I said, "I don't know what I'm going to end up doing, but I know it's going to be something big." And that I did know. I just didn't know what direction it was. And I agree with you. The most successful entrepreneurs that I know, they're self-made because there is a grind. I don't think entrepreneurship can be taught. And I've said this several times. You can be taught tips and tricks and tools to hone your natural ability, natural skill. Yes, that can happen. But entrepreneurship, that comes from a fire within. That cannot be taught. You're born with that or you're not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, the most successful entrepreneurs I know are all self-made, and they all have come from middle class to poor backgrounds in the beginning, and they ended up being very wealthy and successful. And I think that, and I've thought about this before, I think that is because they have seen what it looks like not to have, and it terrifies them, and that they use that terror as fuel. I will say I came from a middle class family. Like, we always had food on the table. There was a roof over our head. It wasn't a poor family, but there was no extra. I'll just say that. And I always wanted more. I remember driving to 2 towns over to go pick up the newest edition of Italian Vogue when I was 15, 16. Like, I just knew there's a bigger world out there. I used to go to the library and check out as much books on other countries as they would allow me to and walk home with them. Like, I just knew there was a bigger world and I needed to be a part of that.
Yeah, no, the thing that I'm curious on with you too is, when did you discover your superpowers? Again, you're 19, 20 years old going to LA in a make or break, right? And at that point in time, you're still trying to figure out what your superpowers even are, what your purpose is, or what your passion is. When did you discover that? Was it at that time, or did it take you a little bit to figure out, hey, this is what I'm really good at. This is what I love doing?
Yeah, thank you for asking me that. I actually remember that day very clearly. I was 20 years old. I remember sitting at the edge of my bed, and there was a mirror kind of in front of my bed. And it's in my book, I call them divine downloads. And it's just lightning bolt of an idea. And I just remember thinking, like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm basically here to connect people. That's my superpower. And then when I'm done doing that, I can leave. I think that was my contract. I don't know what you believe in. Before I came here, I think that was in my contract to be able to do that. And so that's kind of, I just made a company out of it, but really connecting people is really what it's about.
And that was what was important to you. It's really amazing to me that you found that at 20. I mean, again, I think I was sitting in school and college trying to figure out how to get some beer money scraped together, at age 20. So I think that's fantastic. What do you think for people who are out there, so a lot of these entrepreneurs who are maybe looking, they're still searching for that. They're still searching for their superpower or searching for their purpose. What kind of advice would you give them sitting there going, well, I want to go on a journey, but like Candice, I want to figure out what that is. I want that lightning bolt to come down and hit me. What would be your recommendation to those folks?
I recommend, meditating. I think we try to figure everything out. And I think if we sit for a moment and just listen, then trying to figure it out, and a lot of action, huge action steps and worrying and all that, like all of that is just noise. I think if you're silent and quiet for a bit by yourself, I think a lot comes to you. We're just, we have our phones, we live in a world of distraction. But I think if you just take a moment and just be by yourself, and like you can ask, I call it asking the universe, ask God, whatever you believe in, ask for some direction and guidance, and just sit and listen. It comes to you.
Which is what, manifestation, kind of taking something that you believe in and then manifesting it inside yourself?
You have to have trust in yourself, if nothing else. You got to bet on yourself. You got to put down all the chips on yourself, and just know that you are always taken care of, even when things may seem crazy and against you. It's always for the best interest of you. I think everything in life is a big trust fall. You're not guaranteed. No one's guaranteed anything. Employees aren't guaranteed anything. No one's guaranteed anything. But you just have to keep doing the action, having the vision, being excited about what you do, still having a passion for what you do. I mean, I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs sometimes, as they're moving forward with their business, they might lose passion for it. And people can tell because they can feel energy. And it's like, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it because you've built this business and you just can't get out of it now? You built this, monster? Or do you really feel that you're doing your purpose? You have to talk to yourself a lot and really be honest with yourself.
I feel a lot of people talk about putting things into the universe, or into God's hands, or whatever you might want to call it. And they have these big ideas, they have these big dreams, and they go, all I have to do is put it into the universe and it's just going to come to me. And then they sit back and they wait and they go, why isn't this stuff just happening? But they're failing to do the work. They're failing to do what's necessary also to support what they're putting into the world. What do you tell those folks?
It's a fine line of the two. Like I do believe in that. And also with that comes action of yourself. So it's like, do you make that last phone call? Yes. Did you exhaust all your options? Did you do all that you needed to do to get that thing done? Then after that, if so, then sometimes you do have to let go of the reins. If you just did everything that you could possibly do to figure out this thing, sometimes you do have to let go of the reins and be like, listen, clearly I'm not doing the right thing, or should be doing something different here. Like, can I get some direction here? And then sometimes you may just have to go for a walk. You have to determine on when to put the gas down, the pedal down, and when to take it off.
There are so many answers in stillness, and I hear this over and over again, and I utilize it myself in my life and in my business. We get so busy as entrepreneurs, sometimes we forget to quiet our minds and just kind of let the universe feed us what we need to know to take that next big step. And it's hard to do. I mean, entrepreneurs are constantly on the go. Our brains are spinning. We have a hard time sleeping at night. We can't wait to get into the next thing, that next project, to build the next this. And when we don't get that stillness, we're just cheating ourselves out of that next piece of greatness that's going to come to us.
Yeah, you're really exhausting yourself for no reason at all. You have to really control your mind. You have a lot of power. And you have a lot of control over your mind and over your own emotions. And so you need to be able to control that.
You talk a little bit in your book about believing in something outside of yourself. What does that mean for you?
I call it, energy, universe, some God, whatever you're comfortable calling it. There is something that, created you. If you look outside, something created the birds, something created the clouds, everything was created, and it's all syncing up and working exactly how it should. So something did that. So whatever you believe in, something did that. So you have to also, the thing or source that created you and made you, and, you're functioning because you were made, you need to, I would advise you to kind of look into that and to trust that. Because again, if you look outside, the birds are flying, ants are moving, ladybugs are everyone's doing their job. And so, yeah, you do need to believe in something that created you, because you're here for a reason. You're not here for no reason. No one's here for no reason. We're all part of this system, and we're all here to serve each other in some way.
So many people get wrapped up in life, and it's the poor me, or the life sucks, or I don't want this, or I don't want that. But I get up every day, I just look around and go, man, all the things that had to happen perfectly for me to be sitting here right now happened. And what are these miracles?
Totally. And also, I will share with you, recently I love stones, energy stones, all that stuff. Recently, I really got into meteorites. So that's a meteorite. And then I have a meteorite necklace. And I like them because if you think about what this meteorite had to go through to get here, so I could wear this on my necklace. Do you know what this thing had to go through to get here? Amazing. And it's here and I'm wearing it. So if that can happen, we can do anything.
Sometimes we can aimlessly drift through our life, not really sure how to break the patterns and live the life that you've always dreamed of. I get it. I have been there, so caught up in chasing opportunities until I found myself in a life that felt foreign to me. It took me years to unwind the messy web to get back to what I've been put on this planet to do. And let me tell you this, purpose doesn't have to feel out of arm's reach. And I've designed a plan for you to do a little bit each day over the next 30 days in a challenge that I call the Outlier 30. It's specifically designed to help you find or create more clarity around your purpose. So if you're feeling lost and you want to finally turn things around and live that life that you were destined to create, sign up right now. It's free. You have absolutely nothing to lose and the whole world to gain. Visit gorodman.com/outlier30 today. Just the fact that, people talk about somebody being 1 in a million. Well, nobody's 1 in a million. we're 1 in gazillions because all the stuff that had to happen in our lives and in our past for us to be sitting right here, right now, talking. I mean, my ancestral heritage had to work out perfectly as they came across oceans and boats and go back into the caveman era. And yeah, you just go back so far. The things that had to happen to perfection for you and I to sit here and have this conversation.
Yeah.
We're not one in a million.
Yeah.
You know, we won the biggest race of our lives to get to be on this earth, you know, and when our parents had us.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
We beat the odds. So if we can do that, we can do a lot of things while we're here as well. And I also, you know, people have a very large capacity. Everyone I've heard before, like, you know, you should focus on one thing and then da-da-da-da. But I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I didn't do that and things are running smoothly. Yeah, we have a very large capacity, and you know that's what a team is for. If you have a good team, you can do a lot, and people on board with you and on board with your vision, and you know what's going on, and all the newness. Because you know entrepreneurs, we're visionaries first and foremost. We're visionaries. We're creators. Being an entrepreneur to me is very it's artistic and it's highly creative, and it doesn't, as you were saying before, it doesn't stop.
No, and that's the great thing about it, you know, that it doesn't. I'm glad it doesn't. I know that you are too. We'd get bored if it did, and that's the thing, is it keeps us going and it keeps us working hard and looking for the next big thing in our lives, you know, or how do we level up? How do we be even greater? And how do we serve more people in what we do?
And I think it's been my experience, and other entrepreneurs I've interviewed, that was their story as well. Like I think your driving force in the beginning of your business is a different driving force later on in your business, but it's still a driving force. It just changes. So typically people, their driving force in the beginning is to, of course, make money. And then as you move on and you have the company for a while, you know, making money is always good. Money is an energy. I like money. Money is freedom. And it creates cool opportunities for cool things. And then you think about, you know, what is my purpose? Like when I leave here, because I'm going to leave at some point, you know, what mark did I want to make being here? It wasn't just to make money. It's to serve a greater purpose and to help more people.
I used to be an entrepreneur who led with profit, and then purpose came second. And I tell entrepreneurs today, it's like, listen, if you lead with purpose and you can align your purpose with what you love doing and what you get up every single morning, you're excited about, you're excited to take on that day, you're excited to go serve people, that money's going to come. And you're right. No money, no mission, right? If you don't have the money, how are you going to change lives? How are you going to serve? How are you going to help people, right? You got to have the money. But I always tell people, lead with the purpose. And if you're serving people, the money's going to come.
And people can feel that. They know that. They can sense that.
What are some of the bigger obstacles? So you've obviously you've built a lot of businesses, and like we talked about earlier, nothing's perfect. You're never going to have a perfect journey as an entrepreneur. Matter of fact, you're going to probably fail more than you succeeded in a lot of areas, but hopefully your successes are here while your failures help you learn to get here, right? But what have been some of the bigger obstacles that you have faced in your journey?
Man, there was a lot. There was a lot. Like I said in the beginning, like, don't let it fool you. Like I don't know. Like there's just so many, it's like hard to vocalize. You know, you go through a lot of stress. There's a lot of stressors. It's just like, I think definitely in the beginning, it's like, you know, creating the money to be able to do the next thing of the thing, right? And then also getting the right team, hiring and firing. I've had people that I know, like their team kind of like all went against them, and that's a huge issue and problem. Or people not being able to control their emotions, and that kind of ruin their business. There's a lot of things. It's a lot of mental work to go through. And it's like some clients may piss you off and make you mad, and you have to be able to deal with that and like deal with it in a professional way. You know, most of our clients are lovely, but of course, you know, it's a numbers game. There's going to be one or two. Whenever you're dealing with other humans, you're going to have issues for sure. So it's just, I think the answer to your question is just more maintaining self and looking at things from the outside in, more than inside out, because you can be the success of the company, you can be the failure of the company.
Wow, I like that. I mean, thinking through the potential of the loss of self, right? Because a business can take on a life of its own. It can be something totally different, evolve into something that maybe you didn't even know it was going to evolve into. And I've had companies like that, whereas I came into it, I was ready, I loved it, and then it evolved and it evolved and it changed. And by the end, I'm going, wait a minute, this doesn't align with me anymore either. And that's kind of that loss of self at times.
Yeah, it's a balance. I don't really believe in the word balance, to be honest. I think work-life balance is a ridiculous notion, but it's a game with yourself, and you control yourself and your surroundings.
We're talking about all this stuff. We're going to start scaring people out of being entrepreneurs, but I'll tell you one thing, I wouldn't do it any other way.
Well,
right?
I'm with you. Like I said, I think that entrepreneurs are born, they're not made. That's why it wouldn't be scary if it's a part of you, but it is scary if it's not a part of you. I think everyone likes the idea of the word entrepreneur is sexy, or being your own business owner is sexy, but there's so much more to that it can be a bit terrifying, I guess. So if you're not ready just to free fall it, then that's not for you.
So what would you tell that person then? That person, they're sitting there, they're at this company job, but they were born an entrepreneur, right? They were born that, and they're figuring that out. They're sitting at that job, they're hating what they're doing, they're not aligned with their purpose. They want to figure out, they want to do something different that's meaningful to them. What kind of advice would you give that person?
Two things, because I'm an Aries, so it's all fire. One, quit the job. If you want to really be an entrepreneur, quit the job. And two, find yourself a really good business coach. And I mean a good business coach, coaches and mentors as an entrepreneur are invaluable to yourself and your company. You should always have a coach and a mentor immediately, and someone that you respect, and that is someone that you would trade your life with, that is actually successful and actually doing well and can give you really great guidance.
You know, it's funny to me that a lot of people think they can get to a point in life where I'm not going to need a coach. I'm not going to need mentorship. But I don't care where you're at in that growth cycle. I've got a coach. I've got mentors.
I got a coach.
Even when you top of your game, right?
Yeah, your coaches throughout the years will change and shift, and as they should, because you're growing and shifting, and your needs and wants 5, 6, 7 years ago are absolutely not the needs and wants now, or it shouldn't be. And so that's going to require a different person for a different level.
Well, and people, like we were talking before, people evolve all the time. People change. We get better. We hit pinnacles in our careers. I'm working with a gentleman right now who's become a good friend of mine who just came out of Major League Baseball. And, he spent the last 20 years as a pitcher, top of his profession, top in what he was doing. And now all of a sudden he's out of baseball and he's kind of back to square one. He's got the things that he wants to do, but it's kind of like he's starting back at the bottom of that mountain again to take this journey, and he wants to learn about business. So here's a guy who knew everything. He could sit in front of you and tell you everything about baseball, but now he wants to understand the business side. So his needs have changed, and people's needs change all the time, and that's why coaching is so valuable.
Yeah, coaching, I've said this forever, and I will say it, mentors, coaches are so necessary. I don't care who you are. Get one ASAP. Don't wait.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit more about what gets you up in the morning when you are serving. Like if you feel like I'm getting up and I'm serving, what does your service look like?
That's a good question. Thank you. So recently, I think like a month and a half ago, I started something called Saturday Service. And I myself am not religious in any capacity. I don't do organized religion, but I would say I'm very spiritual. So Saturday Service was created kind of an offshoot of Sunday Service for people. And it's mostly for entrepreneurs. And we talk about, universe, energy, things like that, and just goals and positive mindset. That's really what we talk about. And just giving people that boost for Saturday. And I wake up I wake up early anyway. Doesn't matter what day it is, but that's at 9 a.m. on Saturdays. And I'm there no matter what. Like I'll fly in 2 weeks ago, true story. Like I got home at I think like 3 a.m. on Saturday, and then I woke up to be leading Saturday service for everybody because I need to be there. So it's feeding into people, it's pouring into people, it's seeing and it get to see that shift in people in a positive way. It's giving someone what they needed to hear that day. You don't know what someone needs to hear that day. You don't know where they're at. You don't know what they're going through. And I think just being there for people, listening and giving guidance that may help. That I really love doing that.
How important has mindset been in your journey?
Oh, it's everything. That's your most powerful tool. It's more powerful than an AK-47.
And that's pretty powerful. I know that, it's one of those things like, we talk about it. And I always tell people, I was like, identify your purpose. And then after you got your purpose, you got to get your mindset right.
All right.
If you're going to take on anything, if you're going to take on any kind of business, any kind of entrepreneurship, you want to make sure that your mind's right. If your mind's shut down or if you are down, you're not going to work. It's just not going to work.
That's exactly right. But I will also say, like, if you have days that you're down, because you're going to have days that you're down for sure, you need to get out of it quickly. So you need to somehow, if there's a scripture or a saying that you keep in the forefront of your mind to keep you going, or if there's someone you can call that's a positive influence on you, or hopefully you have a mentor or coach to walk you through that, the quicker you can get through things, the quicker that you can move forward. So you need to have a good bounce back. And if you can get your bounce back quick, you'll be good. There was someone, her name was Gloria Mayfield Banks. She was the top earner in Mary Kay, African-American woman. And she said, I can afford not so great moments. I cannot afford not so great days.
Wow, that's big. I like that. And that is true too, because so many people, that the people that can't bounce back, the people that can't get their mindset right, they've got all this talent, they've got all this drive, they've got all this purpose built into them. But if they can't get that and they can't get over that hurdle, or they can't get their mindset where it needs to be, and they lose or they fail. I hate to use the word fail because failure should be a learning moment. But when they can't get through that failure because of their mindset, then that is truly failing. And unfortunately, they could be 100 yards away from a finish line that would be great, which was going to take them to a whole nother level. But they can't get there because their mind won't let them get there.
Yeah. And I think that's because people look at like maybe a worry potentially coming up, instead of putting one foot in front of the other and just look at, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So you just do what you need to do for that moment. Just keep going. You just keep going. You just keep going. And it's going to shake out in your favor.
I know that a lot of entrepreneurs too might hit a bad day. Okay, fine. We hit a bad day. We all have a bad day, right? But then if they let that one day become 2 days and then 3 days, the entrepreneur that's going to be really successful is going to go, okay, I had a bad day. I'm going to sulk a little bit right now. I'm going to think about what happened. I'm going to try to figure it out. But they also take accountability. They take accountability for their actions, for what they're going to do, how they're going to get up that next day, and how they're going to be better. They're not going to blame the world for all those issues. They're going to go, how can I get a solution for this problem and really move us forward?
Absolutely. I've always said, if you haven't had at least minimum 4 mental breakdowns as an entrepreneur, you're not an entrepreneur.
Amen to that. And is that a week or a month? Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to go through it. Like, I hope this show lets people know you're going to go through it. However, if you're willing to go through it, that there's so many payoffs, and not just financially. There's so many great payoffs.
Would you do it any other way?
Absolutely not.
Me either. I mean, every single bit of this journey, I love it. And yeah, I'm going to clip my foot on a hurdle every once in a while, or I'm going to hit a pitfall that might look insurmountable in the moment. But you know what? I truly believe that if you got your mindset right and you understand what it is, and you get back up and start fighting and you take accountability for it, you're just going to be perfectly fine. But I love this journey. I mean, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
You got to be a warrior. You're a warrior. You are a warrior. Like, I just think it's a different mind. I've also said, you may or may not agree with this, I have a hard time, not that there's anything wrong with these people, but I have a hard time. All of my friends are entrepreneurs. I'll just say that because it's a different conversation and we understand each other and we're talking a different language, basically. And I think as you grow and change, your circle and your friends are going to be growing and changing too, because you're shifting. And when you shift and move, a lot of people cannot shift and move with you. And you have to be willing to go it alone to be able to do what you need to do.
Well, and I think where that's important is as an entrepreneur, like you said, you like to surround yourself with the people who understand your struggles. They understand your processes. They understand who you are as a fighter or as a warrior. You want those people in your camp, because the other people on the outside, there are so many people who either can't do it, don't want to do it, don't have the right mindset for it. And if you've got those people who are constantly in your ear telling you why you can't do something, why you should do something, why you should be something different, why you should be something more like society tells you what you should be, that's detrimental to your success. And so for me, like I've got maybe a handful of people. I've got a pool of people that I love to death, that I can get up, that I know I can sit there and have conversation with, that I can have really insightful giving to one another of how we should be growing, how we should be processing, how we should be doing. I think it's really, your tribe is everything.
Oh, 1,000,000%. You know, it's an old saying, you are with the 5 people you hang out with. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of millionaires and billionaires, guess what? You're going to be a millionaire or billionaire. If you hang out with a bunch of people that have done nothing and are complaining and, the same spot they were in 5 years ago, guess what? That's going to be you too.
Yes. Toxic. I mean, it's toxic.
Totally. That's totally the word for it. Toxic.
And, those are the people that you want to eliminate. I mean, it's really important to identify those people early on.
Yeah.
Because, if you are a sympathetic ear to a toxic person or to a martyr or somebody who knows you'll listen to them complain or gripe and moan about things, they're just going to keep right back in your ear over and over again.
Yes.
So you always got to be really slow to figure out who you want in your circles and who you want into your life and in your tribe, but really quick to expel a person who is going to take that positive energy out of your life.
Yeah. You can't be around people that aren't moving. Stagnation, you might as well stagnate. Being stagnant is death completely. You can't be around people who aren't moving. It will kill you.
Yeah.
They could be your best friend. They could be the nicest person in the entire world. They have to be moving.
Yes. Oh, if you're not moving and you're not growing. And I mean, if you're not growing in life, I mean, life is short.
Yeah.
Really short.
Yeah.
And, for me, it's just one of those things. You get up every single day, and every moment that ticks off the clock, you're never going to get that back. It's behind you now.
Yep.
And so every single moment, and, everybody says, make every moment count. Okay. We're not going to always make every moment count. We're just not going to do it. Sometimes we're going to have to just, take a little bit of downtime for ourselves too.
Yes.
But at the same time, that entrepreneurial spirit really capitalizes on their moments. They really make sure that they're aligning, and their life is by design. It's built around a design that they're making for themselves, because they are exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, be around the people who are moving, who are shaking, who are talking about big things, not about people. I want to hear about big ideas. I want to hear about, you just sold your company for $50 million and now you're going to go to Africa and help a bunch of kids with their stuff. Like, these are people moving and shaking. Like, I like big conversation. Be around the big conversations. Be around the rooms. Be around the people that make you uncomfortable. You should get used to being very uncomfortable. Do never be comfortable being uncomfortable. How's that?
Yeah, and it is so true, because as an entrepreneur, you are going to be uncomfortable
constantly.
Doing things you don't necessarily want to be doing at times, or being around people that maybe you don't want to be around. But at the same time, again, as long as you are aligned here in your heart with your mission, if you're like, this is what I'm going to give, I'm going to give this to the world. This is what I am about. This is who I am. This is how I want to serve. This is who I want to serve.
Yeah.
All that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You need to just put your nose down and get into those uncomfortable situations.
Absolutely. I agree.
So tell me a little bit more. I know we started talking a little bit about your book. What are the takeaways that you want people to get from your book?
There's a lot of takeaways. It's short but sweet and to the point. And a major takeaway I'd like people to get from that is you have a lot of personal power. I think the last few years that we went through, a lot of people may feel that they don't have personal power or discouraged or beaten down a little bit. But I'm here to tell you, you have a lot of personal power, you have a lot of energy, and you can absolutely create. I don't care who you are or what's going on, you can create what you want in your life.
And I think, it's good to remind people, it's good to remind ourselves of that at times, because I know that a lot of times even we get bogged down, and we need to be reminded of the value that we bring to life and to the world and to people. And, it's so easy when you start getting into the routines of life sometimes to forget that. The blinders kind of go on, or you quit seeing some of these incredible things that are right in front of your face. And so it's all to get those reminders of what you can do and what you're capable of.
Yeah, you're capable of a lot. And again, this is for everybody. I don't care who you are, what's going on. You're capable of a lot. You can start this journey at any time. It's always there for you. You're never disconnected from the energy or the universe or whatever you believe. You're never disconnected, and you're never alone. So it just, again, to answer your question, it's really about giving people back their personal power or having them discover they have it at all.
The book is Believing Before Seeing.
Yes.
Where can people find the book?
They can find it. They can actually contact us directly if they want it signed. And we have an Instagram, Believing Before Seeing Instagram, and we can get a signed one out to them. Or now we just got it on Barnes & Noble online, and we're going to be doing a Barnes & Noble book tour shortly. And we just recorded for Audible. So soon they'll be able to get it Kindle, hard copy, any way you can listen or read a book, you can get it.
And Candice, where can they find you? If people want to connect with you, where would be the best place to connect with you at?
I love Instagram so much. So it's just LuxeLife_C as in cat, B as in bar.
Love it. And I always like to end these interviews with a simple question, but a very valuable question. And the question is, if you could go back in time and sit down with your younger self and give yourself the most valuable piece of information that you've learned over your lifetime, what would that be?
There's many things I would tell myself, but I think the thing that comes to my thoughts immediately is just to relax, have a good time. It's all going to work out.
Life is good.
Yeah.
Candice, thank you for being on today. This has been incredible. This is going to be very valuable for the listeners, and
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.